Nanalo na Found Feud ng Team The Mighty Minis na 200,000 pesos.
Family Feud, 5:40 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
Nagmamano pa.
That's okay.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories.
There is a lot.
Moldova's pro-Europe governing party has won a majority in key parliamentary elections. With nearly all ballots counted, President Maya Sandu's Party of Action and Solidarity has won almost twice as many votes as a pro-Russia opposition bloc, aiming to steer Moldova toward Moscow. The Prime Minister accuses Russia of attempting to disrupt the election. At least 4 people have been killed and 8 others injured after a shooter opened fire inside a US Mormon church before setting fire to the building. The attack occurred north of Detroit, Michigan. Investigators have not identified the motive of the attacker, who died in a confrontation with police. The armed wing of Hamas has called on Israel to stop airstrikes and withdraw from parts of Gaza City. The group says it is trying to locate 2 hostages it lost contact with during the fighting with Israeli forces. The Hamas-controlled Gaza Health Ministry says Israeli strikes have killed at least 77 people across the territory over the weekend. This is DW News from Berlin. You'll find more news on our website at dw.com.
The National Guard call up to Portland. Federal drug prosecutions plunge as Trump shifts investigators' focus to immigration. And we're on the ground during one of the biggest attacks on Kiev of the war in Ukraine. It's Monday, September 29th. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week. I'm Kim Vanell in Wanganui, New Zealand. In Michigan, 4 people are dead after a man drove into a Mormon church, opened fire with an assault rifle, then set the building on fire. Police identified the gunman as 40-year-old former Marine Thomas Sanford. He was shot dead by police in the parking lot. Hundreds of people were in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints when the attack happened. Grand Blanc Township Police Chief William Rain says more victims may still be found in the charred remains of the building. For more on this developing story, head to Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Reuters has learned the call-up of National Guard troops to Portland came as a surprise to the Pentagon. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has ordered 200 troops into the Democrat-run city. President Donald Trump says that's needed because of the threat from domestic terrorists, which Oregon's Governor Tina Kotek is calling a misuse of federal power, with the state filing a lawsuit to challenge it. Reporter Idris Ali is covering the story.
It was really a surprise because people at the Pentagon weren't really expecting it. They had really been focused on preparing for Chicago, maybe Memphis as the place for Portland are sort of 200 National Guard troops currently, which is pretty low compared to what we've seen in other cities. So in Washington, D.C., we're talking about thousands of National Guard troops being sent in from around the country to patrol the streets. In Los Angeles, we saw not only thousands of National Guard troops, but we saw 700 active duty Marines being sent to the city. The one thing all of these cities have in common is they're run by Democrats, and I think that is not lost on many political pundits and politicians. And the argument that they're making is look, this isn't about crime. This is about Trump imposing his will on cities that are not run by Republicans. And that sort of comes to the next point, right? We have seen in the data that violent crime in Portland, much like many cities around the country, is actually going down.
Beyond crime, another
the number of migrants crossing.
Loko talaga sa atin, guys. Technical difficult. Sabi kami na nakaroon natin technical difficulty.
in the wake of one of the most sustained attacks on the capital since the war began. Russia launched almost 600 drones.
Oh, sure.
Southeast cities. Our reporter Anthony Deutsch. A looming government shutdown in the US is top of investors' minds if Congress doesn't agree a funding bill by tomorrow. They're also eyeing a bunch of economic data releases due out this week. The most closely watched is Friday's jobs report, a key barometer of labour market health that helps shape the Fed's interest rate decisions.
Wolf kill a spider.
President Trump has told Reuters he hopes to finalise a Gaza peace plan proposal when he meets with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House later today. It comes as Hamas says it's lost contact with 2 hostages it was holding in Gaza City as Israel's offensive on the urban centre steps up. Israel's massive ground assault on Gaza City has flattened whole districts and forced hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to flee. And for today's recommended read, Italian fashion house Giorgio Armani has unveiled the last collection the late designer and founder worked on. We'll drop a link to that story and those photos in the pod description. And we also have our latest episode of On Assignment podcast out now, where our journalists take you behind the scenes of the UN General Assembly, tackling high-stakes diplomacy, broken escalators, and all the challenges of multilateralism in the second Trump era. A link to that will also be in the show notes. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favourite podcast player. And if you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.